A little Halloween handy.
Oh, buddy. Can we talk about it?
What?
Never mind. Dude.
Oh.
Okay, all right. I'm not gonna say
That's
just saying go back to
hilarious.
basics.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's funny because we don't have to now.
Yeah. Welcome back to Show Me Yours Podcast, everybody.
I'm Jackie Agnew.
I'm Johnny DeVito.
And I'm Ty Watson.
Oh, yeah. Look at him.
He's coming.
Look at him. He's coming. Look at the running. Look at the running. Very nice. Oh, my goodness. Welcome back to a lovely episode. We're here today. Before we get into it, I want to... well, actually, let's get to business.
Why don't you hit that subscribe button,
Yes,
hit the like button, leave
The old Long Island like button, all right.
leave a comment, 5-star review if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and share us on your story. Give us a tag. And tell your friends about it. Tell your family. Tell your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Tell your dad.
Totally.
Tell your brother.
Tell everybody.
Turler.
Why did it turn into Charles Barkley?
Terrible.
Terrible.
I feel
Terrible.
I kind of know because, well, like at least on my side of the fence, I want a public service announcement. If we have any younger listeners out there, if we have any older listeners that maybe forgot, you know what I mean? Just some like real knowledge that was dropped on me as a youngin'. Don't mix your liquors.
Oh, here we go. Okay. I was
Oh.
wondering where this was.
Well, did you do the rhyme at first? Or liquor before?
Yeah,
Beer, have
before
no
liquor,
fear.
Beer
Never be
before-
sicker. Liquor before beer,
Where
you're in the clear.
I feel like it's the same one as like it's the same one as like brown bears and grizzly bears. Or like I'm like I don't know whether to play dead or run.
Yeah.
Either way.
Either way, you're gonna die.
100%.
Yeah. Or the
Yeah.
red sky in the morning. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think like the beer before liquor argument, like beer before liquor never been sicker. That's what they say. But that's kind of like the area that I'm kind of comfortable in. That's what I'll start off with a few pints
So
or
I
something,
think-
then move to cocktails.
I think the reason why they say that is because you can drink like a bunch of beers, plow them back.
Oh yeah.
And then when you pour liquor on top of that, you don't think about how much you've already drank. So
Sure.
you tend to do more. Whereas if you start with a couple cocktails and then move to beer, the liquor will hit you harder. So you kind of have a better idea of where you're at.
That's fair, right?
Yeah.
The liquor definitely hit me hard last night. We went for we went for dinner, which you know what I mean. We've been busy
Yeah.
for the past I feel like we haven't been just sat down for a nice dinner in months, right?
Yeah,
So
it's been
when
a
we
while.
got there, we enjoyed a couple cocktails, right? So an old fashioned. I love it. And then we got to a comedy show, which is just mostly Canadians, right? So you go from like something classy down to, you know what I mean, put maybe 3 or 4 of those back. And Fireball is a dumb drink. Nobody should drink it. I think that it shouldn't be on the face of the earth.
I saw when I was watching them getting poured last night, I felt like sick to my stomach.
Yeah, oh,
Like,
yeah.
just
Oh
looking
yeah,
at it.
Fireball's
Yeah.
rough,
Yeah.
especially warm Fireball. I don't know how that would happen. I'm like, that's in the ice well for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah.
a lot of people were drinking beers last night too, so the beers didn't really have like a chance to get. I think like 1 out of like every 2 that I got was like from the back or like cold or whatever.
sits
So, like,
weird too in your stomach
was-
because like Fireball is like it's like an olive oil. Like
Yeah.
it's just like you know what I
It's
mean.
just,
It
like,
separates
warm.
from the others.
100%.
Yeah.
It's not good.
100%.
Any like kind of like whiskey or
Yeah.
like
It's so
like,
syrupy
ro-
though.
Yeah.
Sick.
The older I get, the more I'm like accepting that I just can't do shots anymore. It's not enjoyable. And as like fucking in my early 20s, I pounded back shots. Like my
yeah.
family, I was known for like how many tequila shots I could just fucking do like no problem.
I think that was a big, that we bonded over many things, right? But
Yeah.
we definitely got lost in the liquor, and I
Yeah.
marveled at even when we met in film school just a few years ago, you were like, drink for drink with
Yeah,
with me,
well,
I'm
even
like,
because
I
I
weigh like
was
100
still,
pounds heavier than you, which is like insane.
that was when we met. I would have been 23, so I was still pretty young. So I was still kind of in those years where
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like
hell yeah,
not affected
23s,
by
yeah.
it that much.
Yeah.
Um,
The number 23.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, right? She's she's shooting from the free throw line.
Yeah.
The thing is that when I got home last night, I was feeling, you know what I mean. We had a fun night. We were out with friends. Everything's all good, right? So I had a bottle of whiskey that I bought after dinner that I wanted to enjoy a nightcap with, right? And I'm already fucking 3 sheets to the wind drunk, and we're watching. For any fans of horror out there, check out Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Very fucking cool stuff. Very creepy.
Did we watch that?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. You were sleeping.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I was asleep
I
because I
finished it.
remember watching Selling the OC.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, a little
As he made
bedtime
me-
most.
As
Yeah.
he made me a huge pot of spaghetti.
Yeah.
I was like, I was
Nice.
sitting on the
She
couch.
guilted me into it with just like you know when you get the cute face, like what, I'm like, do you want to go to bed? And she's like, no, I'm hungry. And I was like, all right.
Big old bowl of spaghetti
Yeah,
it
he
is.
served me this huge plate of spaghetti,
yeah.
and I fucking got it back. It was like gone. He like went out for a smoke and came back, and the plate was
It was
clear.
like a fucking mess. It was like tomato sauce too, right? So it just looked like a crime scene. I was like,
I just like immediately just passed out after.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I slept actually quite well.
Yeah, but I mean, Ty, you like to cook, right? So like, I mean, especially like if you remember when you were drinking, you kind of get in that.
Oh,
zone,
dude, I
right?
used to make fucking drunken feast, dude.
Oh,
Wake
yeah.
up looking like
Right.
Thanksgiving, dude.
I didn't even.
A turkey
What
in the
happened
oven.
here? Yeah, yeah, dude.
I spatchcocked a turkey.
Yeah. Just fucking creme brulees and shit. It's crazy. I had a blowtorch last night. That's not good. That's not a good scene. Yeah.
The problem was is that I wasn't admitting to myself how drunk I was because when we got to bed, I laid down
That's
and
always the sign of
and
being
Jackie's like,
shit-faced.
"What are you?
I'm not drunk.
Are you spinning? Are you spinning?" And I was just like, "No, I'm not spinning. I'm just drunk."
Yeah, you're like, I just don't feel good.
Like, it's
I'm
not an
just
excuse.
sick. Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you spinning?
Yeah.
It was fucking brutal.
I was like,
You didn't have to sleep?
yeah.
Are
Like,
you
I
spinning?
wandered up after because I guess Johnny watched that show, and so he woke me up. And we go upstairs, and I'm like still half asleep, like belly full of spaghetti. And we see he
She's just
lies
feeling
down.
cool. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Drove, you know
I
what I mean?
feel
Just like-
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. She played it maybe like
down,
2 or 3
he's
drinks
like-
throughout the night, drove home, everything's totally cool, right? I'm fucking hammered.
He's
drunk.
like, oh, I feel sick. I was like, you got spins?
Yeah, and then I just
He's
denied
like,
it because I was
"No."
embarrassed. Yeah, I was just like, no, I don't
Like,
get
no,
the spins.
I'm just sick, and then
Yeah.
ran downstairs.
Yeah, and it was one of those like things where like I wasn't ready for the violent like puke that happened, right? So I blasted into the bowl, and then I figured like, oh, I'm done. And I fucking knew damn well that I wasn't done. But then I tried to like walk back up the stairs and like get into bed and just kind of play it off. And I was up like 2 minutes later down there. I think I
Get
slept
that
on
water dripping
Oh, yeah.
inside of the mouth. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, no, not
Oh,
again.
Yeah. Oh,
gotta
when
go,
it
I gotta
starts
go.
coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
was
woke
bad.
up because
What is that? What glands do those come from? How does your mouth just fill with
like,
water?
It's
With
like
it-
bile, like the beginning, like kind of
like when
coming
you-
out.
No, you know,
Yeah.
you know, it just gets all like, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so you left your phone upstairs and your alarm started going off at 6 a.m. And so then I woke up and he still wasn't upstairs, and me and like Gnocchi were just sleeping so soundly. And
I
so
was
then
on the
I was
couch
like,
just like a
yeah,
piece
I
of
was like,
shit.
oh god, I was like, fuck, I hope he's okay. And then wandered down, and I just hear you snoring. I was like, he's fine. Go back upstairs.
I thought I came up way before 6, but you know, hey, what are you gonna do? So just like, you know, just a public service announcement from Show Me Yours. Just anybody out there, you know, you're not invincible. You know what I mean? And just remember the lessons that you learned. You know what I mean? Moving forward in life, because I've learned that lesson before. And it just appears that I'm going to learn it again and again. I don't know if this is what life is. It's just like a never repeating cycle of just kind of like of learning the same lesson, right? If this is my like in a Sisyphus, are you guys into like mythology and stuff like that? In a Sisyphus situation, like pushing a bottle of liquor up the hill.
Right.
You know what I mean? If that's a metaphor for anything.
Yeah.
But
What a great humanizing story for both of you, to be honest with you, because I was gonna wait for this too, but you know, I signed on to do this podcast, and not never did I think, you know, maybe years down the road, but never did I think that I would be sitting across from defending champions
Oh,
of the goddamn roast battle.
Thank you so
Wow,
much.
these two tore
fuck
the
yeah.
fuck up on Thursday. It was insane. You guys absolutely crushed it. So to just tell that story really brought you back down to it. Because in my mind, I've been I'm like, oh, the king and queen.
These
They're fucking here, yeah. Turns out
Yeah.
Johnny's puking and Jackie's full of spaghetti. Don't worry about it. The universe bounce.
At the end of the day,
Trust me, we're very humbled at home.
just comics for sure. I think that's the thing. Is like you live that like that moment of glory. Very such a short window, right? Whether it's like a bad show or you know what I mean, just bad decisions or whatever. You get you just get like immediately humbled or whatever. But the amount of work that goes into those that you know what I mean, like the moment after winning my battle when you ran up on stage, you had just won yours. It was that fucking moment.
Clips
like,
are coming if they're not already out now.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
you know,
Fucking hilarious. It was such a fun
Jesus
night.
Christ. It was.
You guys
it makes all the
murdered.
work worth it, right? Because we
Yeah.
fucking we work hard on that shit. So it was
Yeah,
really cool.
and like fucking roast nights where we both have roasts are always like a kind of delicate
Yeah,
situation.
one wins, one loss. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard. You don't want to be like, I'm on the top of the world.
And
someone
especially
loses.
when
Yeah,
we're
dude.
both like defending a belt or whatever,
Yeah.
like that could have been like so.
Yeah, that was my first time defending the belt, so I was a little.
Hey, it's easy to get it.
It's
Even tougher to defend it.
100%. Right? That's,
I was waiting for it. I was like, I'm going to throw up a couple softballs here. Wait for old fucking Agnew to step to the plate. Go, hey, don't worry about it.
you know what I mean? You know, some people just aren't, necessarily gifted that they could just walk to the mountaintop like a fucking 10-0 fucking battle record or whatever, right? But you know what I mean? A lot of work goes into those things, right? And never want to discount anything. And Alicia Jones no slouch. So it was very
Fuck
cool.
yeah. No, that was like, they were great roasts. Like, it wasn't,
they
it was a super good night. Because sometimes it doesn't go like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah,
it's just like
sometimes
people are
it can
down and they don't really understand how fucking crazy it can get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
right.
this was great. Everyone did
Yeah,
super
and
well.
the crowd was pretty into it.
Yeah,
too,
they were
'cause
down.
because there were some like kind of groans, but for the most part, even like the fucking like
Yeah.
gnarly ones they got behind.
Yeah.
Which,
If it's
like
because
you said-
that's just it though. It's
There is
funny.
a
It's
bridge
funny.
too
Like
far for one of mine. That was really funny because I was I think 4 jokes in. I'm crushing. Everything is working so well, and I got this fucking bit of confidence to say the wildest fucking joke that I've ever written. And I mean, it's touchy because not only is it somebody else's culture that you're going after, but a very tragic fucking story that was like all over the news that revolutionized fucking like legislature in India. You know what I mean? Right? Like this was a fucking like a heavy historic event. And in my head, I'm like, the joke's so good, it's gonna work. And I fucking flung that out, and it was a pretty white room, and I with comedy ring shows with Ravi in the house and stuff like that, you can get a pretty brown audience, and they're fucking going for it, right? Like I'm usually a little bit more comfortable with them in a roast situation rather than like a lot of like mid 30s 40s white people or whatever, which is kind of what like I saw as I surveyed the room a little bit. But there was 2 brown guys there, and they were fucking loving every like
oh
brown
yeah,
joke or
I
whatever.
know exactly what you're talking about.
So I was like, I'm kind of playing the brown jokes, but like to that table. And when I fucking laid that bus ride fucking joke on them, even they were like, "Whoa, dude!" And I just like ran into that wall there, and then you get this like, because I know that like I said, you save the bangers for the end, right? But at that point, you start losing confidence in because like the next ones that are coming up are also fucked up too, right? So you're kind of hoping that like there was a roller coaster of emotions for sure. But
Yeah.
fuck, I love that shit.
Yeah, and despite being undefeated, I do I do get super nervous before every roast because you never know, right?
That's why
And
you're undefeated,
especially
'cause you work really hard.
and especially like Adam, he's had some fucking great roast jokes
God,
before,
yeah.
like
For sure. Yeah, he did great too.
Yeah. And just like so it's the best feeling like afterwards when you win, because it's like, fuck, like I worked so hard for like fucking weeks on this, and then I've been so nervous all day, like shaking before going on stage kind of thing. And then just like the immediate relief, like, oh, I don't have to worry about this for another month kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I
it's
will
like the weight
say-
off the shoulders. Like,
Yeah, I will say Ravi Khanna, if
Yes.
you're listening, has been fucking dodging this roast for a minute.
Oh yeah,
And
hot
I'm not
minute.
letting it fly anymore.
No,
This
she
is-
cut the promo immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
And she's do it again, folks.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this was
Yeah.
the 3rd time that Ravi's been called out on stage in person. And,
Wow.
I
All
think that
right.
it's-
Here we
I think
go.
that it's time. You know what I mean? That he steps up to the plate. I am gonna add a little bit of inside baseball text. I don't know if you know this, but it was the funniest fucking moment. Like seconds after after Jackie's battle, when Ravi's going to get the judges' scorecards, he's coming back, and like, you know what I mean, as good as Adam Jacobson was, when you're in that room and you know that if you're like a defending champion, it's like you kind of have you have to, you know what I mean, like you really have to crush, right? So I'm in that moment and you're still nervous, but I think she got the win, right? That's almost the worst part about roasting, especially when we're on the same night, is that I'm more nervous when, you know, for her to go up, right? Like it's intense, right? Ravi walks by me and he just like, you know, classic, you know, ruthless fucking form. He just walks by me and goes, man, who's going to beat this bitch? he goes and gets the scorecard and he comes back. And then you're like, so Jackie, blah, 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 blah. You know, like announce that she's the winner. What are you going to do? And she calls Ravi out in person seconds after he says that. And I look right at him like, you fucking, here you go, dude.
And you knew it the whole walk, too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
dude,
great.
It was so
funny. That's so funny.
Yeah, that was a huge moment. And I think, like, you know what I mean, this, like, the women's title is, or even like any title, I don't know exactly how like belt unification or anything like that works. I don't think it matters because you have such
they're
a
all
beast.
made up at this point.
I know.
We have fucking Adam battling for the women's title. Fucking Bods was battling for the Indian title. Like,
apparently, which I have the belt of now. Like,
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that
I would have
either.
announced that. Like, yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of made up at this point.
You
but
know,
what is for sure is that
just
the
like
belts
professional
are in the
wrestling.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Is the belts are in the Agnew DeVito household.
100%,
The ones that matter. Tag team is made up bullshit.
Fuck that shit. We're about individual.
Oh man, that's great.
Okay, we have a fun story.
We do.
We have a fucking kick-ass album to get into today, which I've been excited to talk about for a minute now.
Hell yeah.
But first, we have this story of a Indiana man dressed as Pikachu ran from police on lawnmower, cops say.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, a Rochdale officer may have wished he had a Pokeball in order to help him catch a wild Pikachu spotted driving a lawnmower recklessly through small-town Indiana streets on Halloween night.
I mean, Indiana loves baseball. Could you imagine if this deputy just picked up a fucking picked up a rock and sent one right over home plate?
Right.
Like, at some point, how are you going to how are you going to protect yourself from the community?
Yeah, I mean, for off the top, because we talk a lot about how these journalists kind of have fun with these kind of stories.
Yeah.
Always trying to put some pepper.
I'm loving the tone of this one.
Oh, there is so. Oh man, this is like there's some poivre all over this shit, dude.
Yeah. This guy thought this story fucking came across his desk, and he was like, "Oh fuck yeah!"
Finally.
Yeah, this is just a fun. This is just a fun read.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
to flex his Poke knowledge.
In what Rochdale Police Department assured was a first, an officer found himself in pursuit of a 19-year-old Rochdale citizen who decided to elect trick instead of treat.
Oh yeah, dude.
Somebody give this fucking guy the Pulitzer already.
Yeah, I know.
And gave the police and all the pursuit's witnesses a night to remember. I mean, setting the scene. I love like Halloween night, you know, the kids are out, it's spooky season. And you always kind of Halloween, anything could happen on Halloween.
Oh yeah.
And there's sometimes some like crazy events, sometimes it's awful. Other times it's just fun. People are just
good-hearted spook towns. Oh yeah, absolutely, right?
Yeah. According to Rochdale, police officers were made aware of a man recklessly driving a modified lawnmower through the streets of Rochdale with a trailer in tow, while children dressed as ghosts and ghouls prowled the streets in their own pursuit of candy.
What a noble quest.
Right?
Exactly, right?
I love the parallels being drawn.
Oh, yeah.
Like the cops are in pursuit of Pikachu while the children are in pursuit of candy.
It's
I
just
mean,
everyone's
it's
looking
just
on
everyone's
Halloween.
looking.
100%.
Everyone's in pursuit of something on Halloween.
You bet your biscuits.
Candy, Pikachu, ass.
That's what I'm looking for, a piece on Halloween, I can tell you.
Yeah.
A little Halloween handy.
Oh my! Can we talk about it?
What?
Never mind. Dude.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
That's
Just saying, go back to
hilarious.
basics.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's funny because we don't have to now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Big fan. I'm gonna start to. We're gonna start going back to old school. Okay. Western grip.
A deputy located the erratic lawnmower driver, but quickly realized it was no ordinary driver. It was the rare lawnmower Pikachu.
They're so hard to find. And you have to catch them all,
my
right? Like
God.
if your quest is to catch them all, the lawnmower Pikachu is so elusive.
That is its final form.
100%. It's fully
What
evolved.
was modified about this lawnmower is what I want to know.
Right? I mean, so there is actually a David Lynch film called The Straight Story that's very kind of unlike other David Lynch films. It's not like a thriller or anything. It's about this guy who drives a lawnmower like across the state, basically.
yeah.
And so it's kind of a fun story. But anyway, so he had to modify the lawnmower. I think basically all you do is you take the actual trimming part
Yes.
like off of it, or you move it up.
Lighten
or
it up a
whatever
little
it is.
bit.
Yeah, kind of turn it into more of a recreational vehicle.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they've probably got that like go-kart hack. where It's
Totally.
like you
Yeah.
amp the CCs or whatever. Yeah. I
Yeah,
get
well,
it.
I think like the like
Good old Briggs and Stratton engine.
yeah, right. Like in
Yeah.
these smaller communities and shit like that. I think that it's not out of the ordinary. You know what I mean? To see some
I
shit
would
like
think
this.
that,
right?
yeah. I think it's
I personally
probably
think
more.
the police overreacted. Right. We'll get into it. You know.
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah.
We'll get
absolutely.
into it. Yeah. The
But I
deputy.
do like to. Oh, sorry. Have you got to the part? Yeah. Sorry.
The deputy attempted to pull the lawnmower over, but the man dressed as Pikachu responded with a shock by flipping off the deputy as he sped away best he could.
I'm picturing this like it's just so funny to have human hands in this Pikachu outfit.
Which is
Great.
so
and
funny.
then cruise off at like 10 miles an hour.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious that this guy, who is clearly like a fun-loving guy, likes to have a good time. He's
This kid
dressed as
rules. He's 19
dressed
years
as
old. He's
Pikachu,
fucking like, this
riding
is-
a
yeah, this
lawnmower,
kid's awesome.
towing something behind him. Like
Yeah.
he's having a fun time.
Towing
And-
some?
right?
Come on.
Yeah.
Right? And then the fucking cops call and he's like, fuck the police.
No, I don't stop for you motherfuckers.
Police said, quote, the pursuit of,
At that point, it is a pursuit.
of lawnmower Pikachu went for a few blocks before the deputy broke off the chase due to the driving of the lawnmower becoming more erratic and dangerous, even at one point attempting to hit the deputy's vehicle. So I love that
He's doing a
that it
pit
went-
maneuver.
Right.
Well, I love that it says it went on for a few blocks until the deputy cut the chase off. So it's not like this guy, it's not like the police couldn't catch him in this
Yeah.
pursuit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're going behind him like 30 miles an hour or 30 kilometers an hour, fucking
Having a
just
blast.
trailing along.
He's going
there.
too slow to
Yeah.
drive behind, but too fast to walk.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
what
It's a
he-
sweet spot, right?
Yeah,
there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You'll never
Yeah.
catch him.
Damn, he's good.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, yeah. Then
Speeding up and
he just
stopping.
fucking tries to fucking ram into the fucking police car, and he's like, okay, this is going on too
Yeah,
far.
I think at that point, like that's
Especially if he's got the plow fitting, you know?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
He
In
could
the snow?
seriously
Yeah,
do some
yeah.
damage, right? And that's the problem with, like, I mean, at the, you know, with at the very base of it, police should be there to, you know, I mean, protect the people in the community and stuff. But now, as soon as like he allegedly tried to hit this police car, right? We don't. That's just what we're hearing, right? That's just any kind of police. There's no proof of that, right? But then what they become to is just kind of like a unit to kind of protect like capitalistic endeavors, property, you know what I mean, and things like that, right? So now they're gonna come and drop the hammer down on this kid, which I think is a little bit of an overreaction. But you know what happened? to this young man?
Police were able to identify the suspect beneath the Pikachu garb. However,
Pulled it off like Scooby Doo.
yeah. And later arrived at his home where, after a brief scuffle, 2 officers were able to subdue the man, no longer in his Pikachu costume, and take him into custody.
So it sounds like they fucked him up.
How big was this fucking 19-year-old kid? It takes 2 fucking
Right?
cops, too.
Right?
It's like,
Right,
After
so
a brief
this is,
scuffle, like this kid's fucking like defensive line. You know what I mean? Like,
Indiana, Erie, Indiana, man.
fuck yeah, they make some boys down there. They make some big boys down there. Corn husking fellas.
So this is where it gets interesting. So police said the 19-year-old Rochdale citizen faces 2 counts of resisting law enforcement. That's a bummer. But alcohol or drugs are not believed to have been a contributing factor in the Pikachu dress man's antics.
This is the best part of the story.
That's the most interesting part.
Right? Is that because you're listening to this, you're like, it's Halloween. Yeah. He's riding a lawnmower in a Pikachu costume. This guy's had a few, right? He's fucking smoking a joint.
Yeah.
He's
this kid's fucked up
cracked a beer. He's going all over the streets trying to hit a fucking cop car with his lawnmower. He's resisting arrest. Like, this guy's definitely.
You know what? It's
drunk.
like he's 19, right? And like, let's be honest. Here's a kid. Here's a kid that maybe trick or treated a little late.
Oh,
into his late years, right?
Sure.
Maybe a big fan of Halloween.
Yeah.
Still can't quite let go of the fact that he doesn't get to take part in this. But what can he do? What can he do? He can't go around asking for candy anymore.
No.
What can he do? He can get on his lawnmower. He can put on a Pikachu outfit.
Oh, yeah.
And he can parade around. And all the kids would love to see Pikachu out on this.
Dude,
and
how
then
rad
you got
is
the man, the fuzz, trailing your ass, but you're just trying to have some fun on Halloween.
Well,
trying to bring a little bit of joy to the community.
Yeah.
And then you get fucked up by some
you
police
get
officers.
2 cops at your door beating the shit out of you. This is awful.
He's too old to treat, but he can still trick.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, definitely. At some point, you got to let the treats go. And I mean, that's just for longevity, right? But I mean, the trick will always stay with you. And I just hope that they didn't beat the trick out of this kid, right? Because at the end of the day, what we need is like
you didn't beat him like a trick.
Yeah.
Bitch better have my money. But at the
as a disclaimer, we don't know that the cops beat the shit out of him.
They said after a brief scuffle.
We know there was a brief scuffle.
Yeah.
But to avoid
you got the cops back on this?
Hey, we learned about disclaimers in the Pepsi Jet documentary on Netflix.
Which is fantastic. Which is absolutely fantastic. Ty, are you familiar with the Pepsi Jet?
No. Like fiasco? Pepsi?
Pepsi,
yes.
yeah.
What happened with Pepsi?
Okay, so do you remember in the 90s?
I'm still drinking Pepsi. Is that okay?
Oh,
dude,
yeah,
of course.
yeah.
That's totally up to you. But
that's a personal choice.
Pepsi as a company, though, has...
You're so great. You guys, you piece of shit. Loser. Okay.
Pepsi Corporation has a long history of putting out putting out offers that are maybe like a little bit more than they could chew, right? They can't really deliver on. For example, in Singapore or something like that, they had like some promotion that like under the Pepsi cap, there's like $1 million or something like that.
Yeah.
It like tanked fucking like everybody stopped drinking water and started drinking Pepsi and shit like that, right? So it was really fucked up. Pepsi sales rose through the fucking roof, and then they found out that there was like that $1 million chip was under like 15 fucking caps or something like that. So a bunch of people wanted Pepsi, didn't fucking pay anybody, right? So huge scandal there. That happened years ago. It's all in this documentary. What this documentary is about is in the 90s when Pepsi had like the Pepsi points. Do you remember like Pepsi stuff?
Yeah, dude.
Of course, right? That the end of that commercial, like there was a kid in a jet, right? And it was supposed to like, it was meant to be like a joke.
Yeah. This is what the Stampy episode was all about. In The Simpsons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The kid got wanted the jet.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, and
so that's what
this
whole
documentary is
documentary.
fantastic,
It's like a three or four parter on.
What's it on?
Netflix.
It's on
Yeah,
Netflix.
done. Okay,
It's great.
It's fucking great.
But yeah, it talks a lot about. They're like, if your commercial had a disclaimer, then there would be no argument here. But they didn't put a disclaimer on.
Yeah. It's got this like young kid or whatever who's kind of going through it, and he knows like an investment guy, the money man. The money man in this documentary is the coolest fucking guy on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I'm all of that. I'm gonna watch this immediately when we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're meeting with.
good.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there is this point where they're meeting with all the Pepsi lawyers and stuff, and it's just like at that point where Pepsi kind of is realizing that they might be handcuffed here or whatever, so they're offering him like $1 million settlement. And the cool old guy is kind of like retelling the story, and he's like, so I'm out there, the guy's name is Johnny that wants the jet. I'm talking to Johnny, I'm like, hey, this is $1 million. It's not going to change my life. It could change your life. You know what I mean? You could just take the $1 million and walk away right now. Like, what do you really pursue this? Pepsi is massive. There's 10 lawyers in there right now. Like, this isn't going to be an easy fight. Like, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want the jet. And the fucking,
I want my elephant,
man.
man.
So then he goes back in there and he's like, so I went back in there. There's a whole table full of lawyers, and they're like, hey, what are you going to do? Are you going to take the $1 million? And I'm like, Johnny wants the jet. It's fucking great.
Awesome.
It's so goddamn good.
Okay. Moment of appreciation for this closing paragraph.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
At this time, we believe Pikachu acted alone and no other Pokemon characters were involved in this incident, Rochdale Police Department wrote. However, we are not opposed to catching them all.
Oh, yeah. That was
man.
amazing. What an end.
That was
What
such
a button. What a button
What
on
a
it.
button.
You got
Yeah.
it. You gotta do it.
What a fun article.
Absolutely.
I mean, props to the writer. Props to Rochdale.
To the Indiana man.
To
Yeah.
to
19-year-old
Indiana. They
Indiana
didn't.
man.
They never disclosed his name, unfortunately.
It was Reggie Miller. No.
Yeah.
He's always been
When I heard Halloween, I'm like, he's a vampire. So he looks like a vampire.
Fuck yeah. Nosferatu-shaped head and shit like that. I'm
Dude.
with you on that.
You ever seen fucking Dracula just fucking cashing threes, bro?
You ever see Dracula scored 9 points in fucking 15 seconds?
3, 6, 9.
Oh my god. East Indiana.
How late did you guys keep trick or treating? What age did that stop?
I was always very tall, so it was getting a little bit like, I was starting to notice people's reaction when I would get to the door when I was in like the 5th or 6th grade or something like that, right? So I think there was a year, I want to say I might have been in like grade 5, maybe grade 5 or 6 or something like that. It was we were kind of reverting from or like moving away from candy being the number one focus and like fun.
Fireworks.
Yeah,
Right.
fireworks and shit like that.
Drinking
That
and
was
shit.
the thing. So when I left the house one evening on gate night, that was the most important night. Halloween was fun, but gate night is the night before Halloween where you really get up to some shit. So we would go out and people's houses are getting egged, fucking, like toilet paper and all that kind of stuff, right?
Fucking in Duncan in Maple Bay, people would like fuck
Or
with
Devil's
cats
Nights,
on Halloween.
That's
like
fucked
up.
like
We would
really
never.
fucked up shit. Like
I
super
can't
fucked
fucking,
up
yeah,
shit.
when you told me that, I
Yeah.
just didn't want to believe it, even though that like the Misfits song Halloween is one of my favorites ever, and it's like prominently in lyrics of that song they're fucking with cats and shit like that.
Yeah.
But the there was a moment where I knew that I was going to meet with my buddies and they had like some eggs and shit like that. Everybody's trying to steal like a roll or two of toilet paper out of the house because we're fucking kids, right? Like 12, 13 years old or something like that. And I'm walking out the back door and my stepdad saw that I was like, tucking something in my jacket or whatever, right? So he's like, what do you got there? And as I'm walking out the door, I'm like, nothing. And I tried to run away and he like chases me down and, kind of like fucking like grabs my jacket or whatever and sees what's going on. And he just like unzips it. He sees just 3 rolls of toilet paper and he's just like, toilet paper. Nice. Go have fun. I was so scared because I was
so
like, fuck,
funny.
like I'm going to get caught. So when I went outside, my buddies were like, did you get it? And I was like, yeah, I got it. But I took like 3 rolls and I like put it down in the hedge because I was like terrified. And I went around the thing and I was like, they know I have it. Like this is all going to blow up.
That's
funny.
so
Yeah.
funny.
So like that was.
For toilet paper, too.
Oh,
Like,
totally.
he was expecting you to have a bottle of something in
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
and
totally.
just-
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Just
And-
3 rolls of toilet paper.
So, yeah, his face just lit right up. Like it was probably the proudest that he'd ever been to me, right? And then at that point, I changed. Like I went to like a different school, so like I went to like a middle school. So the next year for Halloween, it was kind of like the same year that I found punk rock because I went as Johnny Ramone. I already had like black hair, and like I already kind of like had all the clothes and
Yeah,
shit like that.
yeah.
I was kind of like just like wearing that as I
Yeah.
went. So that was like the first like cool kid year where I didn't like go to my way to have like a like a vampire costume or anything too. So I just went out. Cold as fuck in a leather jacket and fucking Converse and shit.
Yeah.
And, we were actually getting snow at that time. And Mr. Kashoni is a teacher at the new middle school that I was at. And wasn't my teacher, but everybody was like, fuck this guy. And you know what I mean? At any chance of mischief, I'm down, right?
Right.
Fucking ride or die for the homies, right? So me and a few of my buddies, I think Jake Falanich was involved. Shout out Jake Falanich. Shout out Ryan Cunningham, fucking good man. His younger brother Craig played in the NHL briefly. Fucking good people, good people. Anyway, we chucked these fucking eggs at Mr. Kashoni's house, and this son of a bitch knows that we did it, right? He comes out, but he doesn't like wash the eggs off, and he kind of like spots us, right? So he's clocked us, and he doesn't like do anything for like hours and hours, and then he like phones the police. And it became like this huge fucking thing, scandal in the neighborhood, right? Oh yeah, he was trying to come after my mom to re-stucco his house and shit.
Oh
like
my, re-stucco?
Yeah,
Oh my
it was crazy.
God.
But if anybody knows Shelley DeVito, if you're trying to get $1 out of Shelley DeVito for something Johnny DeVito did, you can get fucked. It became this whole thing, and I was never in this guy's class or anything like that. But like as the years progressed through that middle school, when he was a teacher there teaching English and shit, like it was very weird how in all of that time that I didn't. So I was assumed that he was just like, oh fuck that kid, I'm not, I don't want any part of him in my class or whatever. So I always thought that it was funny that I got in so much trouble for like, sticking it to a teacher. I had plenty of teachers that I'm fucking,
so funny.
that I felt, like they were wronging me in person that I could have egged their houses, but I went with some other guy and he turned out to be just a fucking asshole. Ran for mayor of my town actually.
Oh.
Against.
And he lost?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fuck
against
him.
fucking
Yeah,
Dieter
right.
Boggs. My ex at the time, her grandpa was the mayor.
Dieter?
Dieter is the fucking beauty man. He
Dude.
escaped Nazi
Dieter.
Germany when he was like 13 and shit. Wildest life, man. Shout out Dieter Boggs. Yeah, the guy's fucking
Dieter
rad as hell.
Boggs. What a
Yeah.
fucking name.
Yeah.
He had a fucking chunk on he had like a bookshelf and shit with all this like cool stuff on it in his house, and he had just like this rock on it, and it had like spray paint and shit on one side, and I was like,
Just
what
a
the
part
fuck
of
is
the
this?
Berlin Wall.
Yeah,
Jesus
a fucking huge chunk of it. And I was
Yeah.
That's
whoa, dude, this
massive
is cool.
chunk of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he broke down the history and shit and told me like which side of the that he lived on and shit. He lived a wild fucking life, but he
Wow.
was the mayor of Trail, British Columbia for like years and years, like unopposed, or I thought he ran unopposed, but he was just whooping ass because he was just like, it was just awesome.
Wow.
And then Robert fucking Kashoni, vote for Robert Kashoni, tries to come at the
Kashoni.
man, try to come at Dieter Boggs.
Yeah,
Kashoni,
right,
get
dude.
the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
buried by
Yeah.
Dieter.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what I mean, a little small town Canada
Nice.
political trivia there for
Nice,
for
nice.
yeah, good times.
When was the last time you trick or
I
treated?
think it was like grade 6. I
Okay.
remember like it was like when I started getting into skateboarding.
Right.
So I think like I was friends with kids that were older than me because we always like split classes in French immersion because there just wasn't enough teachers to
Right.
teach these little francophone bastards running around. So yeah, so it was like because I hung out with kids that were a year older than me. They had
Right.
already like stopped, and it was like we were skating, so it was like we're too cool to fuck it.
Yeah.
Right.
We want to go light fireworks.
That
Like,
always
Yeah.
happens with boys. There's that moment where you're like, yeah, like where do you like
I
age out a bit,
specifically
like, based on
remember
cool
just like,
points?
but all we did was it was just like we just hung out
Mm-hmm.
in I think Jevin Crittenden's garage and just like ollied over hockey sticks all
Yeah.
night. Like it was just like we just like were skated all night, like
Yeah.
maybe a little flat bar or something like that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, that was our Halloween. We're like that's what Halloween is now. We just skate in someone's garage.
I think
You still brought a mask, yeah.
I'll wait until
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see why this question came up.
How late did you go?
I think the last time I went,
Oh no, Jackie.
it was like grade 10.
You trick or treated until you were like 15 years
What? Because you're
old?
tiny.
Yeah, well, but I remember the last time we went, I don't know if I went in grade 9. I definitely remember going in grade 8, and I definitely remember going in grade 10.
Were you doing like did you
So it
like
was
little
like-
girl voice it or something, or
no,
were you just like
so
just
it
proud,
was
loud,
me
and proud?
and like a few of my friends, and I remember I was wearing like the same fucking costume that I wore from like grade 8. And at that point I'd just been wearing like the same costume like every year or whatever. Anyways, we went, and like people, when we went up to their houses, they were like, no, like a lot of people like refused, or people like
Oh,
would
wow.
make us like do something or
Yeah.
whatever before they gave us candy. But I remember me and one of my friends there, it was kind of weird because like two of our friends were like, me and I was like already kind of drinking at that point. I started drinking like grade 8, like kind of like sneaking it in my room kind of thing.
Yeah.
But some of my friends weren't into that. But me and one of my friends who were there, we both like were kind of sneaking like alcohol, like
Yeah.
kind of
Shout out
like
Shelby?
no, it wasn't Shelby. Just kind of like taking shots of
I
a flask.
definitely thought it was Shelby too.
Right? That- it does
the
sound
whole
like-
time I was like, Shelby, you son
It
of a
does
bitch.
sound. No, me and Shelby were drinking when we were younger in my room, but she wasn't there this Halloween because we went to a different high school. But yeah, so me and one of my friends there, we were kind of sneaking liquor, like pouring it in like the pop cans or whatever. While the other two, they were just like trick or treating. I remember.
Getting drunk trick or treating like to that age is
I know.
fucking wild.
That's
And I remember
hilarious.
afterwards,
So cool.
we were like around where we were trick or treating was like close to my old elementary school, and they have like a playground or whatever. And we went onto the playground and we're just like I don't know, fucking around there. And
What is it about drinking on a playground too,
Right?
right? Then
Yeah.
like it's a fucking power move. You're like, yeah.
Totally.
I used to go down this slide, but now I just get shit faced.
So when me,
There's
oh
such
man,
there's such a short window there that you
Yeah.
can do it. 'Cause
I-
there's no way I'm gonna go to the playground and just get shit faced out.
when Shelby and I were like peak stoner years, we would always fucking go to our old that old playground and get stoned. One time we were there, it was like summer after first or second year, so I was like 19 or 20, and we were with her boyfriend at the time. And it was like, it had been my dad's, it was my dad's birthday, and we had a birthday dinner for him before I met up with Shelby and her boyfriend. And we were at a restaurant, and the server brought out shots for everyone. My dad doesn't drink, so I was doing all his shots. And so I was already like pretty like half cut by the time Shelby and her boyfriend came to pick me up. And where I grew up, like for fun, we would just drive around kind of thing,
Yeah.
go to Walmart and then just keep driving. And so they picked me up, and I just had like kind of a bottle of gin with me and like a fucking bottle of tonic water in the other hand. And we go to Walmart. Shelby and I are like fucking around in Walmart, and her boyfriend's just fucking driving us around, just shit faced. And we end up back at my old elementary school, and they have a big field. And so we go down, and we're just like drinking there. We got like a huge bouncy ball from Walmart. The sprinklers are going where I'm just having such a good time, so drunk. And by when we left, her boyfriend, we're driving around a bit. I guess eventually I was shit faced, and so he drove me home. And then the next morning, first of all, the next morning, Shelby was like, yeah, it was like weird. I was like, oh, that was so much fun last night in the field or whatever. She was like, yeah, it was hilarious that there were just like other people there. And I was like, what? I guess there was like other people sitting across the field. She was like, oh, I thought you just didn't care. And so I just like went for it. I was fucking frolicking through the sprinklers, fucking shit faced. And I was like, I didn't know there were fucking witnesses.
That's
Putting on a show. That's
And then
awesome.
second of all, I get this text a little while later. She's like, dude, like, you threw up in Sean's car last night. And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
what? And I guess I had like thrown up and forgot about it. But they were like at McDonald's the next morning or whatever,
like,
getting
what's that?
breakfast. And then they go to like pay, and he's like to Shelby, oh, can you grab my wallet in the back? And then Shelby goes to grab his wallet and just sees puke.
Oh, I thought
in
you
the
put handed
backseat.
it.
Oh, no,
Still,
no.
oh, that's so bad.
Oh my god. But yeah. And so that that Halloween when we were there, I remember a security guard came up, and he was like, are you girls drinking? And our like two friends who weren't, they're like, oh no, like wrong people or whatever. And me and my friend that were drinking were like, yeah, just like sipping out of the fucking Coke or whatever. But yeah, I trick-or-treated way too late.
Oh my goodness. Like the idea of like the prospect of getting free candy was like sweet, I think. But
It's like, it's funny because I never really was a candy person. I always loved chocolate, but candy I didn't really
not
care
a sweet
about.
tooth person, but like around like, I mean, 'tis the season, right? Definitely getting
Yeah.
into it. But as soon as I started smoking weed, like everything changed. The big thing in the hometown was like hockey games. So like Friday night, trail smoke eaters. Oh, fucking, it's the place to be, right? There's fucking fights happening in the parking lot. Kids fucking underage drinking and shit, trying to make out with a girl touching boobs and shit. This is fucking good times,
that was
right?
like the fucking Caps games, the Cowichan Valley Capitals.
Shout out to the hockey stick.
Yep, that's where they
yeah.
would take
Yeah,
place.
hell
Yeah.
So we I would go there, and then my mom, like, I would always ask for like $5 for Subway, right? And then we'd all like pool that $5 together, get an eighth of weed or whatever, you know what I mean, right? Classic,
We used to use that on the phone as slang because like it was when someone else could
Subway?
pick up another phone, be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, you want to go get some Subway?"
Yeah.
And it was like, "How hungry are you?" It was like, "Oh, I'm hungry, dude." Really? Like you're not gonna get a 6-inch? Like no, like a foot long. And there was like that was like, "Oh, we're gonna get like an eighth tonight.
Yeah.
Dude. We're gonna smoke that eighth of weed. Me and 6 other dudes."
Totally. Get high as fuck. That was the shit. And then I remember like
I smoked that jury a comedy show now.
yeah, right?
I remember the fucking dealer we used to go to, me and Shelby, in town, and it was like this guy
Who wanted to be your friend, but didn't
so
want to be.
he was like a friend. I think he was like a friend of Shelby's boyfriend at the time, and she was dating a guy a few years older than us. And this guy, yeah, it was kind of like a classic dealer vibe. He had in his living room like a massive like Build-A-Bong kind of thing, like 2 pit bulls and shit.
A lot of
that would,
ninja stars and shit on the wall.
Yeah. And we would always kind of go
Swords.
with Shelby's boyfriend. But I remember a couple times where like they were like had broken up for a bit or whatever, and we had to like go in there alone, and it was super weird. Yeah, super weird.
Do you remember the first time that you walked into like a dealer's place? Have you ever walked into a place with so much like weed in it that like your like vision kind of gets blurry? Like it only happens like when you're like once, and it'll never happen again.
Like a mirage.
Yeah. Or you're like holy fuck, like there's more weed in here. Maybe like it's like the nerves.
You
too,
just
of,
never
like,
seen that amount in your life at that age, too. That was like when like it was like. It was just way sketchier to have.
I was
that
just
much
gonna
fucking
say
weed.
it was
Dude,
like
it was
sketchy
totally
at that,
sketchy,
like
yeah.
going to dealers and
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
I remember fucking one time a different dealer. We would meet up at this place, stupidest meetup place in retrospect. It was like right off the highway, and I was driving like my dad's like big like Tahoe truck, massive truck, and the dealer, she like walked up to my window and like gave me weed or whatever, and I go home and I get fucking followed by a cop car home because I guess it very much looked like I was the dealer or whatever. Yeah. I remember getting home and my mom was there, and I just fucking, luckily because we have the forest behind us, I just took everything I had and kind of like buried it out off of our property. Yeah, I
Like a little raccoon
Yeah.
walking down.
I was so
Going to the
sketched out
mattresses.
because he was just sitting in his car at the bottom of the driveway
How
for
many
so
dime bags
long.
are in the back? Dude, that would have been
Well,
a fun
I bought
game
an
to
ounce.
play.
I bought an ounce. So
Oh,
I was super
damn.
sketched out. Yeah, I was
Damn,
super
all right.
sketched out.
That's
yeah.
fucking
Oh no,
Yeah.
once I get into like high, like grade 11 is when I was like, oh, I just would flip weed kind of thing, but like
Yeah.
not, but like yeah, grade like 8 and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh man, seeing like
Dude.
an ounce of that time,
man.
mind blowing.
It was
Yeah.
crazy. Like we had like there was always like growing and stuff like that. So, like depending on like certain times of the season, we would like clip and shit for like money and all that stuff. But like as it was kind of like as it was just kind of starting, we would, you know what I mean, we needed to buy weed, right? So before any of my buddies started like selling it, or you know, we could like procure it from like a safe place, we used to go to River Doug's. And I think I remember I think we talked about it with Dustin Gilchrist. Shout out Dustin Gilchrist when we were in Calgary, because we're reminiscing on like what lengths you had to go to get weed and shit. And there was like this old guy, there was so many rumors about him that he was like a fucking like a creep or pedophile or like a cancer survivor, because he was
This is
like
mad,
he
you
was
need
going
weed.
through exactly, right? You're like,
So
fuck it,
bad,
we're gonna
dude.
go over
Yeah.
there. And there was like, he lived in this shitty
A
apartment.
creeper, a cancer survivor.
He looked like both. He looked like fucking both. This dude had like, he was like bald and like jaundice, kind of yellow and shit like that. He was this weird fucking dude. And then you would go in there. And then, yeah, totally. And then you like, because you'd go in there sometimes, and then there'd be like a local dirty kid. You know what I mean? Like we were definitely dirty kids, but there's like levels of grease, right? So like you'd kind of go in there, and there'd be like some poor fucking kid that, you know, shouldn't fucking be in there. What are you doing, Joey? Nickel, get the fuck out of that room. But you know, he's just kind of hanging out, smoking weed, watching The Simpsons with River Doug. Like, it's just this weird fucking vibe. So you never really know what exactly is going on there. But he always had really good weed and for like great prices and stuff like that too. So like he would never invite like, you know, like me or my friends in there and shit like that, right? But we would go in, stop at the door, and he had this like his whole like the routine was always the same and shit, right? And he fucking sold so much weed for years and years and years, right? So we would go into this apartment building, and he was like top floor there, and then he moved out of that place to like the 3rd floor, right? And then he moved from that, there was like a little house or whatever behind that apartment building in the alley, and then he moved to that place. So like over the course of like 5 years, he was just like always in the same spot. And then like when he moved into the alley, it was fucked up because like everybody was like getting older and shit like that. He was like, you know, arguing with whoever the fuck he was dealing with and stuff. So like it became like sketchy to go over there and stuff. Like people were like breaking into his house. You'd go over to River Doug's house, and you'd see the fucking door kicked in and shit. And you're just like, Doug's up to something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Doug ain't just selling weed.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
So there was one night that there was another apartment building just across the alley from that a friend of mine had like, you know, you're kind of getting to that age where, you know, an older kid or whatever is now renting his own apartment, right? So I'm still in high school, but we're partying and drinking in this place. And it's across the hallway from Neighborhood Whore, right? So Neighborhood Whore has the homie Ronnie in there, and Ronnie has 2 kids with my brother's best friend's sister. So shit's about to hit the
Trail.
fan.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So we're all drinking, we're all having a good time. And I witnessed the most like fucked up thing that like I'd ever seen, basically, is because Shyla shows up. She's banging on this door. Should I be saying? Yeah, fucking, they're not gonna. Anyway, so they're banging on this door, and it was all this fucking commotion because my brother and his friend Taz are all there, right? So we come out into the hallway because we're like, what the fuck is going on out here? And we see that, you know what I mean? It's the sister, and she's losing her mind, and she's like, you know, my boyfriend's in there, right? Like the father of my 2 fucking children are in there in neighborhood whore's house, right? So it doesn't look good.
Oh, no.
And nobody's answering the door. And now there's like fucking like 20 people outside this door. And I'm shit-faced. And she looks at me and she goes, Johnny, kick this fucking door down. So I probably shouldn't be telling this story. Anyway, massive fucking scuffle ensues, and when
a brief
scuffle.
yeah. After a brief scuffle, I just saw the funniest thing that I'd ever seen because like the dude, he was trying to hide in the apartment, like I'm not here, and neighborhood whore also like had kids on the weekend or some shit like that, so there was like a kids playhouse or whatever that he's in.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that he's hiding.
A little Fisher Price.
Yeah,
he's over the stove flipping the fake eggs.
It was wild. It was crazy. Yeah, there's that was definitely intense.
Nice.
Yeah, I was probably mixing liquor that night too.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fun times.
I was just gonna say because like there was a thing like that story got wild, but I went to never mind.
Well, we
Was there an
Patreon
album?
for,
Jackie, did you bring an album in?
Oh, I
Was there an
brought
album?
in.
What album was it?
Yeah, it's Return of the Dream Canteen. Red Hot Chili Peppers, the second double album of 2022.
Insane.
Holy
My
fuck!
God.
Oh my god!
Putting in work.
Yeah, obviously everyone knows I'm a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. It has been a massive year for that. I mean, it all started, I think it was 2019 or 2020 when they announced John was returning to the band. And I fucking remember seeing that post on Instagram and being like, first of all, couldn't believe it. Like, literally didn't think it was true.
Yeah.
Because I never, ever thought that he was going to come back.
No, when I met you, you would get drunk and talk to other Chili Peppers fans about like the possibility of it ever happening. Like, oh, could you imagine?
Yeah.
And so like when it happened, I saw how stoked you were. That was pretty.
And yeah, so immediately, and then when it kind of settled in, just immediately being like, oh my God, I can't wait for that fucking album. Oh my God, I can't wait for them to tour. Like, holy shit, like I might actually get to see fucking John play live. We're going to get more fucking songs with John. Like, this is crazy. And now the year coming and fucking Unlimited Love coming out and it being so good. Double album, which was so fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
Getting to see them in concert in fucking Seattle. And then the fucking second album. I mean, it's just like the perfect... Like for all like Chili Peppers fans, like 2022 was like one of the best.
Reuniting
years.
with Rick Rubin too. So it's it's all the it's literally all the elements of a Red Hot Chili Peppers album that you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not. It doesn't feel fake. It doesn't feel like it's like the fucking Eagles. Hell freezes over.
Yeah.
Some horse shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like this is like. It's so genuine and so authentic.
Yeah.
And it comes across. So much in this album, and obviously it's so great now that we have YouTube and all this shit because you get to see all the interviews and all that stuff, and the amount of all that stuff too that's been with all this, and just getting just to know the band even more, and you're like, oh, it is everything that you wanted this to be. With John coming back to the band and more,
And
it's
more.
been like, it's been a truly like magical time. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I
like,
think with like Unlimited Love and all of that, like you get this like this idea. I spent years being like, I understand this band is great. They're definitely, you know what I mean, they have their own thing going on, like iconic or whatever over time. Like, why the fuck are they so popular? And then you kind of like, you know what I mean, as you grow up and, seeing them live and stuff like that and watching, you know what I mean, like this kind of like this like resurgence or whatever, or not even a resurgence, I would just say like solidifying their place in like, rock and music history or whatever. You can just see. Like, I see that what I want to see out of, like, my favorite bands. You know what I mean? The fact that these guys love each other so much. They love to play together. So, you know what I mean, right? Like, it's pretty fucking cool to not, get lost in the the glitz and the glamour and the fortune and the fame, and just literally just do this because I feel like you just want to make good music.
Yeah, and it was like,
and then do it at the highest level possible.
Yeah, and so
crazy.
cool with these albums because it was so much like in some ways like a return to like their old sound, but it also still felt like they had grown so much.
Yes,
you know,
yeah, for sure.
So it was still like a continuation, and so with Return of the Dream Canteen, it was already just going to be like a cherry on top of this year. But to me, like honestly, I think that this album might be even better than Unlimited Love. Like there's so
agree with
many
you. Actually, I
fucking-
feel like it's a little more experimental feeling.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a little more true to the band.
Totally.
Yeah, I think like if I'm listening to both of them at length, I'm gonna say that like for me, I think Unlimited Love definitely is a little bit more up my alley with These Are the Ways, and you know what I mean, like a little bit like harder feeling, kind of like little I would say like less kind of softer songs, but. You know, I catch myself vibing to like Peace and Love, and you know what I mean, all these like the slower songs on this record, like for sure. I think like
I think I wanted to be so Frusciante heavy, and this was this one was a little bit more on that, like
for sure.
Yeah, I knew. Oh yeah, it's
There's
so
some
good.
just
It's
wailing
so like
fucking solos,
so
just
like Frusciante heavy, both like in guitar and vocals.
Mm-hmm.
But then also what I love about this album too is that you see songs like My Cigarette or the last one like In the Snow, where they have John coming on and doing like the more kind of like electric, like synthy kind of things.
Yeah.
The shit that he was doing in his like solo career that he had kind of gotten into before kind of reuniting with the band. And so I love that again, it just kind of speaks to like who they all are like as a band and like to each other, that they weren't like, oh, like you're the guitarist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers again, like let's go make like Red Hot Chili Peppers music. They clearly were like, no, like bring in like whatever is inspiring you right now.
Yeah, that's
like
so. Yeah, you
allowed
say, oh, you can
to-
only play guitar. You can like just
Yeah.
listen, just John. You come back to the band.
Yeah.
Everyone's just going to want to see you play guitar.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
so easily of an argument to make to somebody. Like,
Yeah.
listen, let's maybe the next one
Yeah.
or whatever. But it's like,
But
yeah,
it like
no.
speaks to like how like collaborative they are and how like they just lift each other up, and like to have like these songs on the album that are so different than like any other like Chili Peppers songs, and just to like give him that like space to be able to do that, I thought was really cool.
I think that's a good way to put it. Is there's like I got peace and love for you right now. Like that doesn't sound like you know what I mean. Like they don't have like ballady songs and stuff like that. Like they can take like you know what I mean, like ripping, you know, bass lines and stuff like that could take like kind of the back seat. You could really like, you know, they're making kind of beautiful music that you know, not necessarily like in the funk weird box or whatever. There's a lot of cool shit.
They have a lot of like funky beats on this album too, though, and they do have like some that fucking rip. Like Carry Me Home, I remember fucking listening to the album for the first time, and like right out the gates when that song starts, I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah,
this
Fake
is
as Fuck.
crazy.
That's
Yeah,
the shit
Fake
too,
as Fuck
you
is
know
great.
what I mean?
There's so many, so many fucking good songs. I mean, I think Eddie is like one of their best
hell yeah.
songs that
Yo,
they've
I just
like,
watched
ever
them do
done.
it at Austin City Limits, and
Yeah.
it's like, it's so good. They are
Yeah.
such a good live band.
Oh my
that's-
god, yeah.
But I still have appreciation for all their album work. Like it's
Yeah.
weird. It's like
Yeah.
usually it's one or the other for me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this is more of a live band, or this is whatever. But I'm like, they're two kind of different entities for them. But it's
Exactly,
like
yeah.
they're both really good.
Both so good. I think for the album that speaks a lot to, you know, Rick Rubin and how they all kind of work together
He's
too.
cool as fuck.
He's
Oh,
so
yeah.
cool.
All the shit with him
Yeah.
too recently.
God,
it's
that
like,
guy's cool.
yeah. That was a great interview too. Kiedis on Rogan was.
Oh my
amazing.
god,
yeah.
that I fucking ate that shit
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah.
I listened to it. I was like postering one day or whatever and was
Yeah.
listening to it. I was just having so much fun, just
Yeah.
fucking walking down.
And like, well, the
commercial,
difference
yeah.
between like, you know, like definitely like his like vocals and stuff, like you're not gonna have like, you know, like Real Men Don't Kill Coyotes and stuff like that,
Right.
compared to like, you know what I mean, like what he's doing now, right? When you could really see like the improvement.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, Anthony sounds. I think we said this about the last one too. Where, like Anthony does sound better than he's kind of ever sounded, which is
well,
crazy.
that's what they like Flea has said it in interviews, and Rick Rubin and John. They're like, it's amazing that like Anthony as a singer just like keeps getting better kind
Yeah.
of thing, and he just turned 60, and it's like
wild.
yeah, and it's like usually as rock stars age, especially vocalists. It gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
But for him to like keep improving like this, and I think these 2 albums by far like is amazing work, just from like a vocal perspective. Like sounds so good on them. And John, of course, is just such an amazing singer. It's so like always like makes me so happy when like John's voice comes on the song. It just it sounds so good. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I can just see like tears in your eyes right now. You're just holding back.
It's so good. It is really that good. And like I said, it is a genuine thing. It doesn't feel like, because they don't have to. There's not some weird money grab thing. It's
right?
like, and it's like it does feel like they've done it on their own terms.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like some
well, that's the thing.
as much as I love Blink.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh god.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, this just feels like
It feels like
it doesn't feel like,
right?
a little bit.
Like, especially just like the way that they're rolling it out, right? Because Mark having cancer, and then kind of like, the band puts it into perspective, and hey, we want to play together. I don't know how much longer we're going to be around or whatever, right? If that's if that's like the motivation, and it is like pure, then fucking prove it without like $400.
Yeah.
Blink 182 shit.
I think with a Blink 182, I think part of it, I was literally just thinking about it this morning, is that Travis Barker didn't get on a plane for fucking 13 years after that plane crash. And it was just like 2021 that he flew again for the first time. And so I think that's probably a big part of it too, is that now he can fucking fly again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
oh man, I was
stay on the ground, Travis.
Yeah, for some reason I did a deep dive when I woke up at 6 a.m. and I was trying to get back to sleep or whatever. Somehow I was on Reddit looking at the Kardashian subreddits, and I somehow ended up on a deep dive of that fucking crash.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Another good Rogan interview, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, fucking this album is just so good, and even like tip of my tongue, like it reminds me of like on tour and shit, because we were in Vernon when that song like came out and shit, and so for the whole
was sick.
Yeah,
that was sick.
Yeah,
we
so
were
the whole
to
rest
that.
of the time was just fucking playing that song all the time, driving around there.
It's so playful too with like the lyrics and stuff. Like, come here, Dick Windows, come and get a piece of this.
Yeah.
Whatever. I love
That's
that
it's
shit.
it's super fun for sure.
I think like there's like he's such a fan of music, and he like points it out. It's so funny because like I can like the Red Hot Chili Peppers isn't a band that I'm gonna go to like on my phone and like play it or whatever, because you play it so you know what I mean. It's in my life so much, right? That like it would be kind of weird for me to like go back and like pop Californication on when I'm at work, do just a vibe too. But like listening to it so much and kind of getting like an idea for like Anthony Kiedis' just like fandom and stuff, and like the all the shout outs to like my favorite bands.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
he knows his shit,
X,
dude. They
like,
all know their shit.
Yeah, exactly,
well,
which is like really cool.
The wife of
Billy Zoom,
she introduced Chad Smith to the band.
Wow.
So they do have a relationship going way back. But yeah, and Anthony like in his lyrics always pays homage to like all
Poster
these,
Child
like,
is the raddest shit, because like I love like there's so many like in hip hop there's so many songs called hip hop or whatever. There's just kind of like a love letter to the to the art or whatever, right? I love all that shit, right? And I think that Poster Child from Unlimited Love it kind of does the same thing. It's really cool. Yeah,
it's just such a good album, and it was just such like a nice, like I said, like cherry on top to what was already a fucking awesome.
I was waiting I was like, there's gotta be another one coming. I know she wasn't satisfied with that last one. I wasn't.
You blow that over here, babe.
Veggie spring rolls coming.
Oh, Dufans.
Yeah.
Shout out Duffins.
That was my breakfast this morning. Was fucking.
The spring rolls are fucking good there, though.
Oh hell yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
Well, I just knew that she wasn't gonna eat until I put something in front of her. So. Here it goes. And I crushed 2 spicy thighs in the car.
Not bad. Everyone fucking listen to the album. It's so fucking good.
Hell yeah.
And watch out for Pikachus roaming the neighborhood.
Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities if you're into something spooky.
Right, yeah. Selling the OC, recommend.
If you're into that sort of thing.
And I'm not sure when this is coming out, but go to the links below. You'll have all of our shit there.
Punch us in the Googler. We're doing shows. Ty, what do you got coming up?
comedyring.card.co, CARD.co, or to go check us out on Eventbrite, Comedy Ring. tons, a plethora of awesome shit happening. Again, I don't know when this airs, so we just did the parts unknown last night. It was
So much fun.
fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, take a beat out for those, the roast battles, of course, and show me yours. You got some,
we got something coming.
Yeah, little ticklers coming your way over there.
Oh,
So yeah. Whatever. I was hanging out with Sean McDonald all night.
And if the next roast battle is coming up when you see this, and I'm not battling Ravi, just know it's because he bitched out again.
Let the record show.
Yeah.
Peace.